So this is what is also trying to be promoted, in financial intermediation in sending and receiving countries. For this, we can say that why is it so important? Why banking? Why the formal sector? Well, exactly for these words that you can read all around financial democracy, trying to suggest actually choice. But cash to cash, with cash to cash, it's very difficult to achieve that. When your remittances starts to be integrated into the formal financial sector, this is what you have more access. You have more options. Everybody sitting in this table, in this conference room, has a lot of financial access or options. That's not the case for the majority of migrants, or worse, the migrants' families back home. Microcredit savings seems very basic, as we just heard 30 minutes ago about the banking estimates. For instance, in Africa. Insurance, housing, agricultural loans, and education. These are all the services that actually remittances can promote, can help, provide access. There's examples where in Mexico, basically, the mere fact that you're receiving remittances gives you access to a housing loan. Just the fact that you're receiving remittances for more than 6 months. This actually, it's a very simple concept. That means that you have a very secure source of funds arriving into your account each month. That's the equivalent to having a normal or a sustained income that doesn't depend on the rain, on the sun, on the drought. Therefore, this is why the fact that you receive remittances on a constant basis should be looked upon from financial institutions in both sending and receiving countries as something very important. Many microfinance institutions that were providing microloans had clients receiving remittances next door, not through their institutions. So when you actually just connect the dots, you realize that it could be much easier to do credit awareness on a person that receives religiously $200 a month, even though the dollar is going where it's going. But this is less. It's not as bad as the sun and the drought. I know that I have 2 more minutes or one. I would like to finish with the third window, which the objective of developing innovative and rural productive investment channels between migrants and their community of origin. Again, this can be collective. I think it's been discussed enough, well, not enough, sorry, but it is a little, at least this during the first part, and it can also be individual. Migrants would love to do something for their communities as an investor, as a participant investor, meaning that they want to know in details where the money goes. And actually now it's changing. They are actually doing also for profit, for benefit. It was a very difficult idea to conceive for a migrant to help his community and actually make some money out of it. But at the end of the day, we can understand that through that, there's sustainability in their investment, which can actually generate further investment. The idea is starting to be accepted, that actually migrants, if it's just to build a church or the ambulance, of course that doesn't apply. But when the church needs to be renovated or the ambulance needs a new carburetor, what do? So productive investment that actually is sustainable, that actually can generate a margin for the ones to actually repeat the exercise is something, again, that is being accepted. There's many examples in Latin America. I think that's the area where it's been very active, not preaching for my own church, working at the Inter-American Development Bank prior to IFAD, but there's been a lot of projects that were done in that sense in trying to provide these options for investment for migrants. In many cases in El Salvador, this is what was done. What the migrant needed is basically to sit and have options offered to him. This is the only thing they ask. Like the same thing that a commercial bank here would do for you. You just have the magazine, the pamphlets, everything coming to you, and this is what they needed. The problem is this didn't exist. Now it's changing. Migrants are being helped not only with options, but also how to implement this investment opportunity. So the gap is being closed little by little, but there's still a lot to do. So again, with this window here, IFAD and many others, because I'm saying IFAD, but many other efforts are being done through the development organizations, but as well governments, but also financial institutions, and most importantly, migrant organizations are trying to do that. But in any case, one crucial argument is you cannot really do it alone. Development institutions cannot do it alone, cannot be paternalistic in thinking that they can set up these programs very easily. Hometown associations as well is very difficult, and all the success stories that we've heard so far is when actually a partnership was created among these different entities, and this is basically the key. It seems very simple, but it looks like we've taken many, many years to understand it. And basically, it's some of the examples that we want also to promote and be able to disseminate, to maybe create some enthusiasm and push potential stakeholders out there to replicate this in their own region. I think I'll stop here, and maybe just to finish in the last 30 seconds, I was just wanted to give you an example of the projects that we finance, but just one sentence for each. We have a project for a universal postal union, basically, because the post offices are the institutions that are most representatives in rural areas. So if you provide that remittances service, suddenly you are tapping into this issue of the last mile. Because in many issues, in remittances, there's the first mile and the last mile. This is where you have the trouble. For the middle, you have all these magnificent internet tools that do you everything that you need to do, but in the first and last mile, you have the typical issues that still everybody's lagging behind in trying to cope with. This project with UPU is basically trying to tap into that, into this last mile, and take advantage of the existing network. In Peru and Georgia, I think I'll just go for one more for innovative. I mean, these projects, in some cases, when you say innovative, maybe it's innovative from one country, maybe it's not for another. But in talking about innovation, for instance, GRET and the community of Senegalese in Italy, this project, what they want to do is the fact that you receive remittances actually will give you access to a mortgage, housing, a loan to have a house, to buy a house and build a house back in your home country. It sounds very easy, but ask any bank here that you're a migrant from Senegal, go to a commercial bank and say that you want to buy a house, and they will say that's very nice, and when you say that it's out of this country, you will see the response. There's nothing that exists actually to what do you do? For the last 5 years, the discussion was who takes the risk, what can we do, etc. So this project actually with Great Senegal and is doing basically that. It just initiated, so I cannot give you the results, but there's several examples of that can be distributed. And I hope to live on these words that actually I could also provide a more detailed presentation that could live in a website or something that could give specifics on that instead of trying to just summarize very fast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, for